All right, guys. Good morning. Let me know how the sound is. Sound should be good. Let's do a sound check. We got ADP non-farm employment change data coming out today. Oh no, I'm sorry. The non-farm data comes out at 8:15. Actually, this is wrong. 8:15 in the morning. We also have Services PMI coming out a little bit later. Yeah, you can see the Nasdaq. When we're looking at it today, let me find the most recent price action. I was kind of scrolling back, looking at some stuff, but up a lot today, honestly, on the Nasdaq. You can also see like Nvidia, also green up to over 140s, held it at 142s almost. You know, you could look at like the SPY up here too. You could look at Tesla here. Let's put 3 charts up. Like the SPY, Tesla's still green too at 350s. Nvidia green, SPY is green. So pretty strong action this morning so far. Very green action. What's up, Ray, Jared? Yeah, I know I'm starting the stream a little bit earlier than I have been. It's weird, I connected it to my Ethernet cord. Strange. We shouldn't need it though, because we're connected to a wired connection now. Oh well. What do you think about today's market? Ooh, man, I don't know. We got Jerome Powell later on today. That's going to be the big thing, honestly, today. So we'll have to, time will tell. Honestly, we did end green yesterday. We are on our 5th green day in a row on Topstep X. We went on Topstep TV yesterday and gave some of it back, and then we actually were like $4 red, and my OCD got the best of me. I was like, not today. I'm not going to end my green streak. Hey, what's up, Jared? And so we did end up killing it. We did end up catching it. Very small green, but green nonetheless. And yeah, we also have 2 funded accounts. So we're at least going to lock ourselves out of 1 this morning. Let me go back and see what. Honestly, we're running at 65+% in this thing, man. So we're doing pretty good. Okay, so this is our fresh funded account. I'll show you guys. We got 1 trade just now. We taken 1 trade earlier in pre-market. It's the first trade on this account that we've got into. So we'll take 1 trade, and then we're gonna lock ourselves out of the other. So I'm just shorting. I think long is a little bit too obvious, but I also think anything can happen. So we're gonna add up to 4 contracts to this. I'm trying to add. There's 3. There's 4. But I think we gotta be really tight on the rest. Whoa, we just added 5. I didn't want 5. Getting a little bit of lag here. Part of me, that makes me kind of want to cut this. Are we back? Are we good? Flushing back down, good. I'm gonna start taking some size off of this now. Here we go. 3 contracts still. Right, we got a little fill on that. Took another piece off. Basically flat. We're slightly green actually now, believe it or not, but just gonna cut that. So we made it out alive. But we're slightly green now in this account, so that's good. I just wanted to figure out the account. I'm gonna lock myself out of the other account that I've been trading. So we are gonna go to our settings, and we are gonna lock ourselves out of this thing. Honestly, my refresh rate's kind of bad here. I don't know if it's just me. Are we lagging? Or just let me know. Lock myself out till 8:25. Hour and a half. Yes, log me out. Nice. We just locked ourselves out if it finalizes. There we go. Any lag, guys? Let me know. Hour and a half. Yes, log me out. Okay, so I see. So there we go. We should be good now. Honestly, I have my wired connection just kicked in, so we should be fine, to be honest. I'm not noticing any lag. Good. Yeah, because I just noticed our wired connection just kicked in. It's time to buy a new desktop. Any recommendations? What do you guys think I should do? Yeah, so I did it through Topstep, Jared. So again, I've had on this account, I've had a very good green streak. Like we have been green. Whoa, this is weird. Y'all see the charts reset? It might be because I have a wired and a wireless connection all at once. Look, I'm gonna try disconnecting my Wi-Fi for just a second, and then I'm gonna plug it back in because I should have a wired connection right now. So let me make sure real quick before I do this. Yeah, so I don't want there. I think sometimes. Okay, yeah, we're gonna disconnect our. Okay, so we just disconnected our Wi-Fi, and this should be much cleaner now because now this is going to be a direct connection. And then, yeah, everything just refreshed on my screen. That's what it is. Yeah, Powell's speaking later on today. But no, Jared, yeah, so I locked myself out through Topstep. Again, if we look back at my history, I've been green since Tuesday of last week. My average win to loss isn't the best, but here's my graph, my profit graph since Tuesday, including yesterday. So this is my profit graph since Tuesday. I'll show you guys my net daily P&L, which is right here. No losing days yet. So no losing days yet. We're doing good there too. And again, I've been using this lockout feature. What I've been doing every day is I've been locking myself out to start the day until 8:30 Eastern. Every day, no matter what. I'm locking myself out until right before the opening bell. And the reason I do it is because I've been losing in pre-market. Like I've been trying to trade in pre-market, and after the opening bell, I just have a much bigger edge, a much larger edge after the opening bell. If I try to trade in pre-market, I've just been, I talked about it on Topstep TV yesterday. I've just been losing in pre-market, and I don't want to keep losing, of course. So yeah, it's 7:40 right now at 8:15 market time. So we have 35 minutes, really about, yeah, we got about 35 minutes. The non-farm employment change data comes out, so be ready in 35 minutes. Non-farm employment change data, and then we have services PMI at 10 a.m. I'm on Topstep X, which has 0 commission. Yeah, I'm looking at the rest of markets. I was curious how the South Korea news would affect everything. Is anybody else having issues with TOS? Oh, I forgot to wake my daughter up. She's gonna get mad. Oops. I did forget to wake her up. Hold on. Let me go make sure she's up. I'll be right back. All right, she's up. Yeah. She leaves me a note every morning. She's like, hey, daddy, wake me up. She's like, I love you. Wake me up. And usually I remember, but today I forgot. So she's up. She's all right. Whew. All right, guys. So, yeah, SPY gapping up to 605s, over 600. Nvidia over 140s. Tesla over 350s. So everything's looking pretty strong. Yeah. Time to buy the Chewy dip. Let me take a look. Chewy's down. I don't know if it's down enough. The problem with Chewy is, what about Amazon kind of eating their business? Target had another very green day yesterday. Good. AMD. Good. I'm in AMD too. What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin's back up to almost 97. So we're doing much better there too. What else did I buy? I bought KO. KO is down a little bit in pre-market. Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi's down some too, but I'm pretty sure I'm green. Let me do a poll here. Do we cut rates on December 18th? Yes or no? Do we cut rates on December 18th? Is going to be the poll. And I think these payroll numbers today, these prelim payroll numbers called the Nonfarm employment data, as well as the big report, which is this Friday. The Nonfarm payroll report on Friday is huge, and this will be a big influence over everything. Yeah, you can't trade Nvidia. You can only trade futures. Yeah, do me a favor, bump that like button. So 72% of people say yes. I tend to agree. I think we're going to cut rates. Now, how much we cut rates? I think it'll probably be 25. I don't think it's going to be 50. I think in order for it to be 50, we'd have to see like really strong. We'd have to see a really strong economic report. Foot Locker, Nike. Oh, I did buy Nike, right? I might add to Nike though. Like, I'm not. The problem is that I can always sign into the website, but my TOS app isn't working. But Nike's kind of flat. It goes down. Every day at the opening bell, Nike goes down, and then it ends up bouncing back after the opening bell. I'm not saying it's going to do that today, but if Nike drops enough, I'll just buy it back. I think I'll just add to it. I don't have a problem adding to it. I think Nike's going to be fine long term, but you never really know, I guess. But I don't really have an issue adding to it. Do these cuts work on a 25% increment? Can they do a number like 10? What? Yeah, they're only 25. They're only 25 basis points at a time, right? So it's never going to be like 0.3 basis points or, 46 basis points. Like, that's just not. And this is talking about quarters of a percent, right? And so they cut them by 25 basis points, which is a quarter of a percent at a time, so 50 basis points is 0.5%, 75 basis points is 0.75%, 100 basis points is a full percentage point. But yeah, they don't do it outside of those are the increments. All right, guys, we got 30 minutes. And again, we do have non-farm employment data coming out today. So this might move markets. It's the prelim payroll data. So it might move stuff. Yeah, we got Jerome Powell speaking at 1:40 today. 1:40. We'll stream that too. So we're here. We're ready. We also have Services PMI. So if you don't know what Services PMI is, technically it's called ISM non-manufacturing PMI, but it's services. It's so the ISM Institute of Supply Management Purchasing Managers Index, also known as the ISM Services PMI report, is based on data compiled from monthly different replies to questions asked by around 400 purchasing and supply execs. So it's based on the diffusion indexes for 4 of the indicators with equal weights: business activity seasonally adjusted, new orders seasonally adjusted, and employment. So yeah, it'll drop soon. It'll drop at 10 a.m. today, but we also have the regular Services PMI at 9:45, but it's less important. The ISM service one, anytime we have PMI data, the ISM Institute of Supply Management PMI data is much more important. We do have Nvidia bouncing up, so Nvidia up to almost 142s. Now I'm wondering if this is going to drag futures up. I have the SPY here, but here's the Nasdaq futures contract. And I could probably base it around like this. We'll put this up. Yeah, look at the Nasdaq and look at Nvidia pop, and then we could put. Again, we locked ourselves out for, a little while. But look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's going. I've got another black eye, guys. It's like my 7th black eye this year or something crazy like that. I mean, what about it? It looks like a really, it's up a lot today, but it's kind of it's a cryptocurrency I don't really follow like that. It's up a lot today. It's got a good long-term chart, honestly. Not a good long-term chart. It's 7-day chart. Honestly, it's up a lot this year. It's been doing really, really well. Aerodrome Finance, whatever that is, looks good. Usually I'm not a big fan of like crypto, but I'm not telling you to buy it. I have no freaking idea what this is gonna do. But look at this chart. This thing was at the beginning of this year, it was at 10 cents, 10.5 cents. Today it's at $1.79. Hit highs of 189s. Crypto market's not really a market that I watch a lot. Outside of Bitcoin. Like, I watch Bitcoin. So do these have a correlation with Bitcoin? I heard a lot of the time when like these run, they run when other markets are struggling, like if Bitcoin's dominating the market, but I guess these might be independent of it. Fed rate cut odds match your poll perfectly. Yeah, it's 70-30 basically. I still got 130 shares of AMD, and Nike just added to Google too. Hey, good luck. Why does everyone think they're going to cut rates? 81% of your survey. Because they're probably going to cut rates, Rob. Why do you think they're not going to cut rates? Yeah, it's pretty probable we're going to cut rates, right? Everybody pretty much agrees that we're probably going to cut rates today. Or not today, but it's overwhelmingly probable right now that we're going to cut rates. Not overwhelming, but it's like, you're asking why most people think we're going to cut rates. Most experts think we're going to cut rates. It's like 75-25, 74-26. So most people think we're going to cut rates. We'll see, but yeah. My coffee is much better today. Job report is on Friday. Arrow's a good bet. Yeah, again, with crypto stuff like this, I mean, it doesn't look bad. Got about 25 million in volume in the last 24 hours, so people are buying it. All right, guys, remember, 24 minutes left. We got non-farm employment change data. 24 minutes. We got ISM services later on today. All right, chat. Yeah, so I asked the guy what he thought about rate cuts. I haven't gotten a response back yet, but he said, hey, why does everybody think we're going to cut rates? I'm telling you, the reason we're going to cut rates is because it's pretty probable right now. It's like 75-25 that we're not, 25% chance that we're not. You know, a rate cut, the only way these numbers are going to change, right? Like, what I mean is the only way we're not going to cut rates this month is if payroll numbers on Friday show like a shockingly high number. If payroll numbers on Friday show up something super freaking high that scares people, that's a situation in which we might not cut rates and we might pivot to a more probable outcome being a pause in rates. The payroll report this Friday is what you want to watch. With unemployment as well, unemployment's expected at like 4.2%, a 0.1% uptick relative to where it was. So yeah, I mean, it's unemployment reports this week, yeah, expected at 4.2%. Last time unemployment came in at 4.1%. Payrolls expected at 214. Last time they showed up at 12K, which was a shockingly low number. And that I'm trying to see what the market did during that period of time. So here's the Nasdaq. All right, so let's look at a 5-minute chart. Let's look back. So these reports, when did non-farm all right, so non-farm payrolls came out, right, November 1st. But I'm showing previously they came in at 223. So this has got to be wrong, right? Okay, previous expected 223. Last time they showed up at, okay, November 1st is the last time they showed up. Right, so let's take a look back at November 1st. I'm just curious what the market did. Right, November 1st, right here. Okay, so here's the market on November 1st. No. This is not the market on November 1st, it's October 31st. Yeah, Friday, November 1st. Let's take a look. So we started the day off here. Let me get my time right. I gotta make sure my trading view time is right. Sometimes the timing. Yeah, I need Chicago time, Central time. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8:30. It's really at 7:30, so usually the data comes out here. So the market didn't honestly react much to this last payroll report. You can kind of see it right here. Is it looks like, yeah, so here's the 7:30 line. Market honestly didn't react, and then it kind of ripped up some. So payroll numbers came in really light last time on November 1st. Interesting. But yeah, outside of that, the market didn't really do anything from the last payroll report, even though they were shockingly low. What it might change though is rate expectations. You know, so it might change like rate expectations. But super high payroll number might mean a pause. Yeah, job reports Friday. My bad, maybe I had it wrong. I thought they were trying to slow down spending. I was under the assumption that if they cut rates, it would speed up spending. I mean, it would to an extent, right? So it'll speed up spending for like at least some. When interest rates are lower, people have more access to cheap money and lending, and so they tend to spend more when they have cheaper access to money, right? Like that's just common logic. But you know, the problem is that they should only cut rates if we're showing signs of a weak economy. The last payroll report showing up at 12,000 versus like 220 something expected is super low, right? Super low. And so that showed some weakness. But unemployment showed up at 4.1%. It's still under 4.5%. Payroll numbers have been okay aside from the last employment report. But yeah, right now you could always see what the expectations are. So if you ever want to know what the probabilities are regarding rate decisions, you can go to the CME group, the Fed Watch tool. It'll show you exactly what the probabilities are. So yeah, it'll show you exactly what the probabilities are. And right now the probabilities for a pause are 26% chance, 26% chance of a pause, and 74% chance of a 25 basis point cut. So right now it's pretty probable we're going to do 25, but there's also a chance. It's not nothing, right? Like we got a 26% chance of a pause. So pretty probable. And again, this is subject to change. We still have what, 2 weeks left. And if payroll numbers this Friday come out super strong, super hot, then that might be a situation in which yeah, that might be a situation in which we want to be able to use a calendar. So yeah, so it's the 18th. So yeah, and exactly 2 weeks from now on Wednesday is the rate decision on December 18th. All right, guys, look at the Nasdaq fall down some. The Nasdaq's coming down a little bit. Look at this. Down to 409, right at the 200 exponential moving average. And I like this 200 EMA as well. We're slightly green on the day trading. I'm a lifelong contrarian. Yeah, the problem, unemployment keeps inching up. Not really, Harris. So unemployment was higher than this a couple months ago. So it's actually going down a little bit. I think. I might be wrong. Let me see. Yeah, so honestly, Google is really nice. It'll give you a really nice like graph. So yeah, unemployment in July was 4.3%, and it's slowly been tipping down from 4.3% down a little bit. And so unemployment spiked up from January. Yeah, so unemployment's up from like 2023, 2024, but it hit its highs in July, and now it's been coming down ever since. All right, so look at the bounce at the 200 exponential right here in the futures market. Really nice bounce at the 200 EMA. This is why I love watching the 1 minute 200 EMA. For whatever reason, the 1 minute 200 exponential just works well, right? Like that thing just works well. Let me get myself away from the charts here so that you guys can see both the timer. Look at the bounce directly, literally directly off of it. Look at that. It literally, oh wait, here, hold on. Look at the bounce directly. Like here's the 200 exponential, and then we literally just bounce, pop right off of that thing, man. Right off of it. I love watching the 1 minute one. It works. It works. In markets, you're just trying to figure out what works. All right, so we got the timer right here. I'll stick the timer here so we can see it. Yeah, 15 minutes left. Yeah, always all good, Rob. Yeah, thank you, Con. Appreciate it, brother. How does a strong Black Friday spending play into the decision? Well, I mean, it means more spending, of course, but that has to do with inflation over everything else. And there's a correlation between payrolls and spending, but payrolls are essentially jobs, right? Like you have the JOLTS report yesterday. JOLTS report showed stronger jobs than expected, more job openings than expected. Non-farm payrolls are jobs that aren't farm related. You know, that's essentially what it is. But basically, it's payrolls, right? It's jobs. So that certainly correlated some with spending. You know, more people work, more people spend. If you want spending, you know, it's one of the reasons I talked about this on Topstep TV yesterday. But like, if you typically a stronger economy, you know, low unemployment, high payrolls is a good thing, you know, and it makes the market in general react positively, right? But in periods of markets in which the world fears inflation, right? Like after 2022, after the quantitative easing and money printing and stimulus checks, the economic period of 2020, when they were really trying to stimulate the economy to save us from like a deeper depression or recession, inflation spiked, right? Because of all that economic stimulus, inflation spiked. The consequence to that inflation was the market reacting negatively to economic strength in that way. So we'd get like a really hot payroll report, like a payroll report that would show up like higher than expected, market would go down, right? We'd have unemployment show up lower, market would go down. You know, we'd have all these different things that conventionally would be reacted positively to, but the market feared inflation so much it went down. And so that's something that, like, I don't think inflation's been getting mostly better. I think if we look at core PCE, I think we've been showing up as expected. Honestly, what's really nice, yeah, so here's a core PCE inflation graph. All right, so here's a graph. Yeah, last time 2.8%, 2.7, 2.7, 2.7, 2.6, 2.6. So inflation's mostly been going down. But if it starts to trickle up here, and most retail traders watch CPI, right? So yeah, so here's CPI inflation. So inflation's mostly been going down since 2022. You know, here's that period of time in which all that economic stimulus here drove prices up. So you can see all the economic stimulus here. They brought rates to almost zero. The consequence was this big, bold push up. You know, but once inflation had spiked like this after 2020, they started doing like a restrictive monetary policy tightening phase, quantitative tightening, you know, rate hikes, all that stuff. And that caused inflation to slow. But inflation's got a little bit better. We did spike a little bit though. Let's see. Yeah, so CPI inflation did spike from 2.4, 2.6, but we are lower right now with inflation. So, you know, the problem is that this is one of the reasons we're still probably going to cut rates this month, is because inflation's still within reason. It's still under control in their mind, right? I'm not saying I agree with this, but in the Fed's mind, inflation's still under control to a certain extent at 2.4, 2.5. 2% is their target. But sometimes, like, their target, they know they're not going to hit their target always. But 2.4, 2.6% inflation is good enough, I think, to them. So, let me put my exponential averages up here. I love the 200 EMA on a 1 minute chart. It flows really well with the chart pattern, the chart trend. Put a 1 minute chart up here. Here's the S&P E-mini. Exponential. Like, look how well it flows. Like, look how well the 200 exponential just picks up bottoms, right? Bottom, bottom, bottom. You know, it's not perfect. Like, you're gonna have phases where it doesn't work here, but if you can find the right market for it. All right, chat. Hey, we got 10 minutes. 10 minutes before the non-farm data comes out. Powell speech is 140. So if non-farm comes in hot, we would be looking for a rate cut. And that's why today's data is important, right? So today's data is not the actual non-farm payrolls, but it's the prelim NFP data. So it's what's called the ADP non-farm employment change data. So it's kind of like an earlier look at inflation. Yeah, y'all bump the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me make sure we're in sub-only mode. I think we are. Yeah, we're in sub-only mode. So subscribe if you haven't yet, chat. We appreciate it. The biggest holiday spending on record. I'm wondering what inflation is going to do in the following months, too, based off of the big spending that we've seen. You know, one of the consequences of all that spending is going to be at least some inflation, right? And so that's what I'm curious to see what the inflation data looks like in the coming months based off of that big report that dropped, you know. Yeah, where's gold at right now? So gold, I just look at gold futures. What is this? No, I want these gold futures. All right, /GC. What the heck is going on? There we go. I just gotta say, like, it had that. So look at that bounce right off the 200 exponential, man. I'm gonna start trading this. You know, this bounce this bounce. All right, guys, we got 7 minutes left, give or take 7 minutes. Over the last 6 months, CPI is 0.7%. That's 1.4% annualized, well below the desired 2%. Let me see. But yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons the Fed is going to be, if you know, if inflation was super stressful. Hold on. If inflation was a problem, they'd be less likely to cut rates. Or no, I'm sorry. If inflation was a big problem, they'd be more likely to be restrictive. And yeah, less likely to cut rates. That's correct. Sorry. Talking over myself. Let me look. So which inflation are you talking about? Tomato. CPI? Let me look at it month to month. All right, so July, August, September, October, November, December. So July. So we had 0.1% in July. We had, or in June we had 0.1%. July we had 0.2%. So that's 0.3%. Plus 0.2% in August, so that's 0.5%. Plus another 0.2% in September, that's 0.7%. Plus another 0.2%. So we had 0.9% over the last 6 months. So it's 1.8% annualized, but it's still under 2%. But that also might be seasonal, and the reason they look at year over year is because there's seasonality affected. There's seasonality things that affect it, and so that could just be seasonal influences for CPI, but I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, gold dumping down a little bit. Look at the Nasdaq pop right at that 200 exponential moving average, right at that 200 EMA. All right, chat, we got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We got about 600 people here early, which is nice to see. You know, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well today. We blocked ourselves out of our Topstep X accounts, but we are on a 5-day green streak. So, hey, support the channel. We got ISM services coming out later today, too. You'd love to see that. We'll see if that influences the market, too. They're pretty even, services and non-farm employment data. Which one do you guys think will affect market more? I think services might, but it depends. That could be just because after the opening bell. All right, chat. 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left. Be ready. So it is now 8:11, 9:11 market time. Or no, it's 8:11 market time. Supermicro semiconductors. Where is Supermicro? Has it moved? I mean, it's volatile, but I think the accounting news that it got is good, right? Like, I think it needed the accounting news. I think it's a good thing that they got their accountants and their auditors to say that there were no evidence of fraud. There was no evidence of fraud. I think that they needed that, and I think that's an optimistic good thing for them, but they're still hella risky and super volatile, and they're just not something that I want to necessarily trade or take advantage of. It's high risk, high reward though, and so if you make money on it, I mean, you might be able to make money on it. You just got to be careful. Trade small. All right, guys, gold futures. MicroStrategy. Yeah. BITO bounced up a lot with Bitcoin, so that's cool. All right, chat, here we go. We have 2 minutes left, really. About 2 minutes. Well, it was an independent auditor, is what I heard. Anon. I heard it was an independent auditor. No? Am I wrong there? Again, y'all might be able to help me out, but I heard it was an independent auditor. Who's telling people to buy stocks? I guess MicroStrategy, but... it's the 200 exponential, Ahmad. 200 exponential, powerful one too. I love it. I love the 200 EMA. All right, guys, we got a minute and a half left. We'll see how these affect markets. We got gold up, we got the Nasdaq up, we got Nvidia up. We'll see how these affect everything. If y'all want me to put something else up as a gauge of watching the prelim non-farm data, I can. Just let me know in chat. All right, we're at 70.30. So apparently there's some updated news. Check it out. All right, guys, 1 minute. 1 minute. A little bit over a minute. This timer's a little bit early, but that's okay. Supermicro whistleblower doubles down on claim he was fired for complaining about accounting practices at the $20 billion tech giant. So apparently they're a whistleblower with Supermicro Semiconductors. We'll look at this after the payroll data comes out, because it's coming out in 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Chat. All right, guys, 30 seconds. Nasdaq's up. Nvidia's up. Let's see what these markets do. Gold heading down a little bit right now. Gold futures. Got the Nasdaq popping a little bit here. Here we go. All right. 5 seconds. 5 seconds, guys. Alright, so the data is out. It showed up at 146,000, 146K, lower than expected. 146,000 non-farm payroll data, or non-farm employment change data. 146K versus 166K expected, lower than expected prelim payroll numbers. Lower than expected. Again, we showed up at 146 versus 166 expected, roughly 20 or exactly 20 or roughly 20,000 under expected here, chat. So non-farm employment data showed up again at 146K versus 164 or 166K expected. So slightly lower, not a huge miss though for these. All right, so here's the report. We're going to put this up on screen as well as we're putting it up in chat. So there's the non-farm employment change data. We're going to put it up on our news. So if you look right here, I'll make it less transparent so that you can kind of see it. There we go. So you can kind of see 146 actual versus 166 expected. Nasdaq's gone up for this report. Nvidia just broke highs. Gold bounced up a little bit on it as well. So most markets are reacting positively to this. I'm wondering if this is because they want rate cuts, right? Like if you want rate cuts, what does that mean? That means like you might want this data to show up a little underwhelming because it shows a weaker economy and more of need for rate cuts, right? More of a need to cut rates. Gold's popping up on this report. Nvidia just broke highs, and the Nasdaq's up some here as well. I don't know if it's bad news. The market's mostly reacting positively to this report. Again, market is up a little bit. It doesn't mean it's going to stay up, and sometimes the first move is the wrong move. But yeah, I think the possibility of a rate cut is higher with weaker payroll numbers and weaker employment numbers here. And Nvidia's pushing up, gold's pushing up. So interesting here. I'm going to switch and I'm going to trade my Combine account this morning. I do have a Combine. I'm going to buy this thing and we're going to trade this today because we can, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to buy this on the Nasdaq here. Regular contracts. This is a Combine account, so we're funded in a couple. I'm going to buy one, buy another one. Again, we're just playing around. We got Services PMI later on today too, to prepare for that as well. See if we can add some more to this. Nvidia just broke highs, so I'm just kind of betting on strength based off of that. Also, guys, we are trading on Topstep X. Topstep X, and again, it's the single best way to learn day trading, and if you're good enough at day trading but maybe you don't have enough money to fund your own account, it's the best option in my opinion. Most day traders lose. Doesn't matter where you go, what you trade, most day traders are going to lose, right? But on Topstep, it's a lot cheaper to lose and relative to most other options, and it teaches you how to trade under pressure in a better way versus anything else in the world, in my opinion. What they do is they give you a demo. They test your skill with a demo account first. If you pass the test with a demo, they then fund you with a regular account. The base one's $50K in funding. You can get up to $150K in funding on their top package. There's no PDT rule in futures, so you can day trade the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, gold. No PDT restrictions. You can see their prices right here. It's genuinely a great way to learn day trading. And again, most pro day traders trade futures because it gets them around the PDT rule and the patterns and indexes like that Nasdaq, the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, which is all things that you can trade. I'm going to take a little bit off here. These are all things that you can trade. There's less red tape. You can day trade it. The patterns are super similar to blue chip stock patterns, and there's no PDT rule. And again, it's a perfect middle ground of pressure. Like they give you a demo. You're risking something because if you pass that test, you get $50K in funding. You get to keep your first $10K in profit and then 90% afterwards. And you can see how similar it is to day trading stocks. Look, I'm day trading the Nasdaq right now. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. And so we just made about $100 from this trade, about $100. We'll look for another dip, but very similar to day trading stocks. And they've paid out hundreds of millions of dollars to their traders since 2020. I think they've paid out over 125 million. They fund thousands of traders. They've been around for over 12 years. They're the most legit one in the world. And so if you look at this, 12 years, the base one is this one, and it's a 3-to-2 ratio. You got to make 3K without losing 2K reasonable. And once you're funded 90% split, it just makes sense, right? Most day traders lose anyway. And so you could either lose $50, still learn how to trade under pressure. And if you're good enough to pass it, you get 50K funded account with a 90% split, and you get to keep your first 10K. And if you fail, again, you only lose $50. It's the best of both worlds. If you fund your own account, you're potentially risking thousands of dollars, and that just doesn't make sense to me, especially for new traders. If you want to check it out, there's the link. Great way to help support the channel. Understand they are an affiliate of mine, so I'm definitely biased in their favor. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations, guys. Not an investment professional, not liable if you lose. You always got to trade your own stuff. Trade responsibly. I'm not liable. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't copy me. I'm biased because I have affiliates as well. So understand all that stuff. Now back to the trading. So we made a nice little green trade. Gold is hitting them. We could also trade gold. Like I could trade gold directly on here too, which is cool. The news was, market mostly reacted positively to it so far. News came out at 146 actual versus 166 expected. So again, look, I'll put the news up. The news is big at the top of the screen. So we'll put the news big at the top of the screen so you can kind of see the news up there. So 146 versus 166 expected. Again, we also have Services PMI coming out later on today. That's it. Pass the test, you get a 50K funded account. Sure, but with restrictions, right? They're not just going to give you 50K. They're going to fund you 50K and they're going to give you restrictions. And so they're not going to let you just YOLO the whole 50K. That's not a reasonable expectation of them. But if you pass the test, they give you, it's like a couple thousand drawdown in the account. And they have some of the best rules in funding. They're the most legit one in the world. But if you want to learn more, just check them out. Go to the link in the chat. Check them out. Yeah, I can't tell if this guy is a troll or if he's really just kind of like a 12-year-old kid. But good day to you, sir. Have a good day, man. I think he's probably a troll, so have a great one. Well, it depends, Wendy, about how long you buy it. Like, you could short the Q, and that's fine, short term, right? I'm not really interested in it long term, because if you short it long term, you're shorting it. It's the healthiest companies in the world. Yeah, I'm funded. We're on a 5-day green streak. He's just higher IQ than all of us, maybe, man. No, it's only futures. But the futures market very similar to stocks, right? Like, I didn't trade futures for a long time because I only traded stocks. But I went with this. I went from penny stocks. I realized that penny stocks are just sketchy, and the market's mostly made up of pump and dump guru courses and nonsense in penny stocks. So I eventually pivoted to blue chip stocks, right? But I started having better success, like just straight up day trading the SPY or the QQQ, right? And I had better success just straight up trading those. And then I realized that the futures market had no PDT rule, and I could literally do the same thing by day trading the SPY and Q. I could do the same thing in futures, trading the Nasdaq or the E-mini, S&P E-mini. So that's the SPY and Q price action. Like, the SPY and Q track the futures market. They track the Nasdaq, which is the NQ, which is what you see on the screen right here. They track this, and then the SPY tracks the E-mini, the ES is what it's called. So the S&P E-mini. So, you know, it's basically the same thing. So that's what got me into futures. The wash sale rule, basically, so a lot of people misunderstand it, JSO. So JSO says, do they have the wash sale rule? I would assume they do, because when you're trading anything, guys, it's not just stocks, right? The wash sale rule basically means, I think it's the wash, I'm trying to make sure I got this right. The wash sale rule basically means if you make $1,000 and then lose $1,000 on the same symbol, you can't isolate that loss and say, hey, I'm down $1,000 and then write it off as a loss, right? And your taxes. Why? Because you're not really down. You're really break even. You made 1,000 and then lost 1,000. So you're really break even. You're not really down, right? So you can't only claim your losses and ignore the wins on the same symbol, right? And I'm pretty sure that's universal through all markets. You know, you're not going to be able to lose $1,000 and then make $1,000 and then act like, and then write off your original loss. It just doesn't make sense that way. And so that's what the wash sale rule means. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the wash sale rule is a tax rule that prevents investors from claiming capital losses as tax deductions if they buy back a similar investment within 30 days of selling it at a loss. Right. You can't write off something that you're really break even on, you know. Yeah, Nathan, I mean, I'm not sure what terrible bear week 2 weeks ago. Market is rigged, he says. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean, man. What I will say is that, like, if you're betting against the market, if somehow you found yourself trying to top pick the market, shorting the S&P or the Nasdaq or the Dow, shorting the strongest companies in the world like Nvidia or Apple or Amazon or whatever it is, right? If you find yourself shorting those long term and trying to pick tops like Michael Burry and predict market crashes, somewhere you've been misled, right? Like, I get it. They really romanticize this idea of being the super smart contrarian that just knows something that other people don't. And so you can top pick the market. You could be just like Michael Burry in The Big Short. They really romanticize that stuff. But you're trading against the biggest statistical edge the market ever gives you. The market's going to go up, brother. Like, regardless of what anybody says, the market's going to go up. You know how many people I've had come to my stream and try to predict market crashes over the last 5 years? Like, dude, everybody and their grandmother wants to predict market crashes. They're wildly wrong most of the time because the big long-term edge is that the market goes up. And the longer you hold a short position against the market, the less likely you are to make money. The longer term that position gets, the less likely you are to make money. The longer term you hold a long position on the Nasdaq, the S&P, the Dow, the more likely you are to make money. And that's a big statistical edge that you shouldn't ignore. And again, if you find yourself betting against that because you get wrapped up in politics or whatever, again, somewhere you've been misled. Trust me, bro. Yeah. I mean, look, I even said this. I think we might correct a little bit next year. I think we're up a lot over the last few years. But am I going to bet on that? Absolutely not. Am I going to try to top pick the market? Absolutely not. That's a sucker's bet. It's what most people... Again, if you bet against the market long term, it's a sucker's bet. It's the biggest sucker bet the market gives you. And again, if you think it's not, somewhere you've been misled. That's just the reality of it. I don't know, one person trying to predict a crash. Dude, you're not looking on YouTube. You know how many YouTubers post a video literally every other week talking about the market's going to crash on this day. Watch. Boom, boom, boom. And then they're wildly wrong about it. The market ends up pushing up and the market goes up and up and up and up. And then the market dips like 2% one day. And then they isolate that one day where it dips 2%. And they're like, see, I told you guys, It's like, dude, you said the market would crash over and over again. And then they dilute their videos. They upload a bunch of other videos talking about other stuff. And then they do it again. And then they do it again. And some people get talked into buying or shorting the Nasdaq, the SPY long term. But it's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense. The single way I know whether people watch economic events regularly is if somebody doesn't watch FOMC meetings a lot, they might think every FOMC meeting the market's going to crash. If somebody doesn't watch CPI reports a lot, they might think every CPI report the market's going to crash. The likelihood that it does is super low, super low. I'm not saying it won't. Eventually it's going to happen. You throw darts at a dartboard, eventually you're going to hit it. But it doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean you're good at darts. Yeah. I'm not gonna call out any names, but I think they're easy to see. Right, 100% Jeff. That's exactly. So Jeff says right here, the better way to be contrarian is to buy out of favor stocks. Absolutely 100% agree. Right? The reason I agree with this is because some of my favorite stocks, the stocks that I do the best on, are like Target, right? Stocks like Target, like stocks that people freaking just would never buy in a million years, right? Target. Every time I bought this thing, I've made money for the most part, right? Like, people underestimate the strength of Target, right? Target drops this big percentage. We bought it up down here. Remember? If you guys remember, we bought it up down here at like 120 is where we bought it up a couple days ago, right? This is the way I'm contrarian, right? Because everybody and their grandmother thinks it's going to crash. People get political with it. There's all kind of stuff. But I'm buying it when it's cheap. You know, I ended up buying this thing last year too when everybody hated it, when it was down at like $100, and it ended up bouncing back a huge amount. Like if I put up a weekly chart, I ended up buying this thing down here when everybody freaking hated it. Look at the move it made. It literally went up 80% in like a year. And so this is the way I'm contrarian over everything else. Because it just makes sense, right? Like you can find underappreciated stocks. Every time I go to Target's packed full of people, super busy. They're making lots of money. You know, you spend you buy 5 products, you spend like $300. You know, it's packed full every time I go to it. Sean, you were full of love. Thanks. Hey, I tried, brother. Yeah, it's like that guy. Yeah, it's like that guy. Wasn't there the guy that took a huge Bitcoin short position at like 30K? Where's he at today? I think his name's like Gareth Soloway. I've been wrong too. I can't judge. Right, I really can't judge. But with Bitcoin sitting at 95K, hopefully he got out of that thing. Target is slowing down though. It doesn't matter. I'm already out of most of it. I've already taken 90% of the profit off of it or something like that. I don't know how much, but something. Yeah, Walmart too. There's a lot of underappreciated stocks. I'll put it this way. Every time we get a major pullback in a stock, a healthy blue chip company, I'm interested in buying it. I'm not always going to buy it, but my curiosity peaks whenever something big, blue chip stock drops big. You know, and there's a lot of opportunities. A lot of this is around earnings, right? Like around earnings, stocks make these big dips, these big emotional overreactions on the downside. Sometimes, not always. That's where the opportunity lies. The other opportunity is just when markets actually crash. In 2020, I bought up United Airlines. I bought up MGM. Tons of people made fun of my positions. Ended up doing incredibly well on those positions. And it really goes to show, if somebody's mad at you for buying up a stock on a discount, you know, they're too emotionally wrapped up in it. Gold's back up some today, though. Nasdaq's still green. Fear keeps me from investing, to be honest. I just can't understand the move this year. DCA is your friend then, brother. I'm not telling you to DCA. But the way you get around that fear is DCAing. Dollar cost averaging. You know, you basically add regardless of price in specific intervals. So like an example of a DCA strategy would be like, hey, I'm going to add 100 shares every month regardless of price. It goes up, I add 100 shares. It goes down, I add 100 shares, you know, and I just do that regardless of price. That curbs volatility long term. And if you're holding something 5, 10, 15 years, like whatever we've done in the last year is insignificant for the most part. And that's the thing most people got to understand. Like a lot of people miss out on big moves. And so then they're so biased against the market going up because they missed out. They had FOMO, that they end up just never entering it and wanting the market to go down, right? And so that's one of the reasons crashes are certainly over predicted. There's a lot of like psychological reasons people get really bearish, but when you look at like the long-term history of the stock market and finance in general, S&P, Nasdaq, Dow, I'm going to give you about 10% a year on average. Not every year, but on average 10%, which includes crashes. So good years, we're going to do really good, like this year, last year, 25% increases in both of them. You know, but then the bad years, we're going to do bad to compensate for it, but it equals out to about 10% a year. You know, you get it with bonds, you can get like 3.5%, 4% right now, depending on the length of the bonds. Real estate will get you about, like, if you do it right, like 12, 13%. A lot more work though, for sure, in real estate investments. Target always seems to be doing well here. Their EPS is good too. Like if we look at Target's EPS graph, which is their margins, you can also look at their revenue. Super low PE ratio, I think, for Target too. So yeah, I mean, Target does well. Their margins are good. They've only had one losing quarter in the last 15 years, basically. So Target tends to do well. When you look at their revenue, yeah, when you look at their revenue, it's not a shock that they're doing good, you know. I think their EPS or their PE ratio is pretty low too. Yeah, like look at their revenue. So Target, people love to hate on Target, but it's a good stock for most of the time. I'm not telling you to buy it. Do not copy me. Not an investment professional, but it tends to be a solid stock. It looks like. Oh, you could certainly time the market, but timing the market beats that most of the time. Warren Buffett's probably selling because he's freaking 100 years old, dude. He probably needs the money. He's probably locking in some stuff for his family and for his, you know, children. Like he's probably locking some stuff in, liquidating some stuff. It doesn't always, every time Warren sells, it doesn't always mean like bad. Like Warren might just be locking in, you know, protecting his nest egg in some ways. You know how many bearish articles we've seen over the last freaking 5 years, man? Hey, thank you, Jeffrey. Do you think the market may trend upwards until January to postpone taking gains until next year, then retrace as many take gains on January 2nd? Maybe. Like, so sometimes, you know, the end of the year is interesting. It's tricky because you have what's called tax harvesting, which means that companies and businesses and people in general, they start to unload some of their losses, which makes the market go down sometimes. And then you also have what's called the Santa rally that sometimes happens in the last 2 weeks of the year. I'm not saying it's going to, right? But sometimes you get those things. And it doesn't mean we're going to this year. But because of that nuance of like Santa rally, tax harvesting, like all the different things going on at the end of the year, I think it's hard to predict. I appreciate the donation though, but I have no idea if we're gonna get that. It just depends. You know, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think the Friday payroll report this week is really big. We got Jerome Powell speaking today. That's pretty big. We've got the Fed meeting in 2 weeks. That's pretty big. You know, we got CPI report next week. That's pretty big. So we got a lot of stuff coming out over the next couple weeks. That's going to influence what happens in the market, you know, January 1st, basically. So we'll see. And I think that there's a nuance of it where, like, I think people really want to believe that they know something that nobody else knows, right? This is the reason I see why crashes are overpredicted. Everybody wants to feel like they know a secret, you know, that they know something that nobody else knows, that they know this is going to happen or that's going to happen. And they watch The Big Short and they romanticize it and they want to be a smart trader guy. And because of that, crashes are just wildly overpredicted. So many people predict crashes over and over and over again. I've had so many people come to my stream and tell me the market was going to crash in 2023, 2024, blah, 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 right? I just tune it out after a certain point because usually what happens is they never admit they're wrong, right? They end up doubling down on it and they just kind of keep predicting it, or they change their username completely and sometimes they even like turn hateful. Like they'll turn toxic and start to like hate me because I've been right about the market not crashing over the last 3 years. And I'm sure to be fair, like I'm sure I have some bias there too, right? Like I have some bias against crash predictors because I see it so much and I see them making these predictions so much. Nasdaq breaking highs right now. So look at the Nasdaq pop. Yeah, we're gonna stream the whole Powell speech live like we always do. My Topstep X is fine, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna try to short the top here. This is a challenge combine account where we're already up some, and so I'm just playing with this right now. We'll add to it, but 4 contracts. Ooh, look at that. Wow, I will take it, guys. Did y'all see that? Man, dude, I don't know what happened there, but I'll take it. Look at this dump. What the heck was that, guys? Right. If you call it crash 5 times, then you get it right once. Greatest crash predictor of the 21st century. The Nasdaq. Look at this candle. This is the largest candle we've seen all day today on the Nasdaq. I don't know what just happened. I mean, I was short, so it worked out beautifully for me. But I don't know what that was. Yeah, I think you guys might have missed it. Look at this. So we just made 356, 760. We just made $760 on that trade. I'm gonna add a little bit more to it. I don't know what happened on that red candle, but it was weird. And again, we're gonna short this now. 4 contracts total. Took a little bit more off there. Now we have 2 contracts left. Yeah, I have no freaking idea what that was, man. That was strange. Yeah, we are now up $760 on this account. I'll let this last position go. I'll take 1 here and just let the rest work. Yeah, I guess it was Nvidia driving, so we're gonna get out there. So yeah, we're up about $600 on this now, so that's nice. You can harp about shorting strong companies, this and that, how we shouldn't let politics and economics affect our trades. Yeah, your whole morning show is about the 7:30 data. I never said you shouldn't let economics influence your trades. Absolutely, you should let economics influence your trade. I'm talking about politics. I never said economics. You're throwing that word in there, brother. And it's, again, it's all love. We could agree to disagree as long as you're respectful about it. Like, you know, it's all love here, dude. But you absolutely should let economics influence your trades. And I'm sure the next word is going to be, but politics affect the economy. Sure, but in general, the Federal Reserve is an independent body from political stuff. It's not a government entity, even though it's related to the government and stuff. But even when we look at economic data, right? Like the easiest way to put it is like this. A lot of people, it's an election year. And so throughout this whole year, people are blinded by the election nuance of it, right? Like people, one side, the side that didn't have power, wants to make you think it's the worst it's ever been, right? It's the worst it's ever been, terrible, all this stuff, because they want their guy to get elected, right? And the side that has power wants you to think that it's the greatest it's ever been, right? It's the thriving economy of the century. Neither one of those things are necessarily true. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and you can't get blinded by that into thinking we're always about to crash, especially during election years, right? Like election years are historically very, very highly probable to be green. You know, it's like an 80% chance of green during election years, yet everybody that gets biased politically thinks the market's going to somehow crash during the election year. And that's incredibly rare that the market actually crashes during an election year. But they're super wildly overpredicted during election years because people get wrapped up in the political aspect of it, where you got, you know, it's the worst it's ever been, guys. When you look at the actual economic data, right? You look at the actual unemployment numbers, they're below average, which is good. You look at the jobs numbers, right? The jobs numbers have been decent this year too. And so the labor market's been relatively strong. Inflation's relatively low right now as well, right? So we're certainly not in an end of the world economic situation. We're not even close to that. And most of the people that think we are just kind of blinded by their political bias in one way or another. And with that said, I'm not saying things are perfect and rosy and green and everything's sunshine and rainbows, but when you look at the economy, it's not super weak either, you know, and regardless of any of that stuff, right? Regardless of all of that stuff, the market's going to go up over time. Like it's just going to go up over time. And the best way to take advantage of it is to DCA long term. People that are trying to top pick the market based off of politic bias or economic bias, it's probably a pretty low edge strategy. You know, and again, it's all love here. I'm very neutral politically, and so I'm not rooting for one side or anything like that. Like I'm very neutral politically. I'm not against you. I'm not for you. Politically, I'm just neutral. But yeah. Yeah, thank you, Pew. I think I got lucky. We ended up bouncing right back up, but I still capitalized mostly on it. Yeah, it definitely costs more to live now. But that has to do with the fact that, okay, 2020 happened, right? Pandemic happened. Everybody freaked out. Spending went down drastically. Jobs went down drastically. Unemployment spiked. Supply chain constraints caused problems, right? All of these things made it likely that we were going to hit a recession. And so the Fed, Big Papa, steps in and lowers the federal funds rate to almost zero, right? Short-term interest rates. These mostly affect like home equity lines of credit and adjustable rate mortgages, because that's the rates that they base them off of. Short-term rates. And so they brought interest rates down to almost zero. They also injected liquidity into markets, stimulating the economy. It's called quantitative easing. They basically they created a bunch of bank reserves, and then they used it to buy bonds, injecting liquidity into those markets. All of this stuff was done to keep interest rates down and influence spending in a positive way, make people start spending again because everybody's freaking out, nobody's working, all that crazy stuff. It's called quantitative easing, money printing. You know, we had stimulus checks as well. When you throw that onto it, you had the low interest rate environment. The consequence of all that stuff to stimulate the economy was inflation, right? So inflation ended up spiking. 2021, 2022, inflation got up to almost 10% CPI inflation. And once inflation goes up, it doesn't really go back down, right? So once it spikes, the only way you're really like literally going to make inflation go down is deep recessions and depressions, right? That's the only way it's really going to happen. And so once inflation goes up, you're stuck with it. And that is why most people think the economy is in some like super weird state. It's mostly because they see how high prices are, right? But high prices are actually a sign of a strong economy, not a weak one. And when the economy is stronger, prices tend to go up. And so you got to take all of that into context. It doesn't mean things are good right now, because the real reason people are unhappy is because of prices being up too much. But it also doesn't signal a weak economy, right? We're kind of somewhere in the middle, where the economy's been relatively strong over the past few years, but inflation over the past 5 years has caused people to still be deeply unhappy with things. So, and just because they're unhappy doesn't mean the economy's weak either. So you always have to take that context into it. I think a lot of people that don't look at it, they see high prices and they say, oh, well, the economy's weak, right? Not necessarily. In some ways, it's the opposite. And I think people are so emotionally wrapped up in politics and all this stuff that they just end up like getting super emotional and yelling things and being disrespectful and like all this kind of stuff. Where again, if you can disagree with me and you can tell me why you disagree, and that's okay. And again, it's all love if you do. Like, as long as we can have a reasonable conversation about it, it's all love. It's all good. All right. All right, guys. Hey, dude, I love you, man.
Love you, Dad.
Thanks for sneezing on me. I love you, buddy.
Love you.
It's all right. I love you, buddy. I love you. Have a good day, guys. Hey, thank you, Rob. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. Yeah, been a long time, dude, since then, man. They were kind of like some OGs in the space. I don't know what happened to them. I kind of moved on to futures, brother. But cheers to you, man. Appreciate the love, dude. Bitcoin falling back down. It's at 95K now. All right, so Bitcoin dipping down some here. Yeah, I'm okay if you're political with stuff. I really am. Like, I'm not against political people. You just can't, like, you can't get it wrapped up in economics, right? Because the economy and politics are a different thing. And, like, you have to understand, like, both sides of the political spectrum, they want you to think certain things, right? Because thinking certain things makes you root for their side more. And so it's like I said, whichever side doesn't have power, they want you to think it's the worst it's ever been. Right? Because, man, look how much you need us. Wink, wink, wink. You know, cough, cough, vote for our guy. You know? And the side that has power, right? They're going to... Things are just the greatest they've ever been. Look at what I've done. You know, things are the greatest they've ever been. Right? Both of those things are untrue. And if you start to follow that agenda, right? If you start to follow that agenda without recognizing the bias that they have towards it, that's when people start to get really wrapped up in all of it, right? They get really misled into all these different things. And again, I'm neutral politically, but you got to understand that aspect of politics. And if you don't, you're priming yourself to just be taken advantage of, you know. And again, in the market, you got to be objective, you know. Yeah, honestly, I don't know when Bitcoin's gonna break 100K. I don't know when it's gonna happen. It needs to happen soon. I thought it would happen before now, already though. So I thought Bitcoin would already break 100K, and it just hasn't. Yeah, market kind of flattened out though. It's pretty quiet now too. Yeah, I got into that Bitcoin trade where I bought it at like 92 because I thought it would run into the Thanksgiving holiday, and it did. Honestly, it absolutely did last week. It just never quite broke 100K, and I ended up taking a lot of it off already. But yeah, prices are gone up. Prices have gone up, and again, they don't go back down. And that's the real reason most modern people are unhappy. Most people are unhappy modern day, I mean. That's the reason most people are unhappy. Prices went up so much, they ain't going back down. You got to live with them. The best we can do is slow inflation down. You can very, very rarely make it actually go back down. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, too. So when you hear people say, hey, like CPI inflation went down, you know, inflation's gone back down, right? People take that literally, and then they look at the prices and they say, well, nuh-uh, you know, prices haven't gone down. What are you talking about? And it's because they don't understand what they're meaning here. Prices are not literally going down, but the inflation is rising at a slower level, right? So instead of rising at 10% a year, which is what it was at its peak a few years ago, it's now only rising 2.4, 2.5% on the year. Right, so it's a much more reasonable rise. Prices go up over time. If you tried to buy a house 100 or 50 years ago, you probably get one for like 15K, 20K, 30K. You try to buy a house for 30K now, you know, you better have a bulletproof vest. You know, so inflation happens. It is what it is. Yeah, I try, Harris. People still drag it into here though, but hey, that's all good. All right, so again, we're up about 6 on this account. It's going to unlock closer to the opening bell, so we'll see what that looks like. So what do we got? We got Alright, so we got the ISM payroll report today. Alright, we're gonna switch our stream. So we had our pre-market stream. We got ISM services data today. So yeah, we got ISM services PMI data today. We'll see what happens. What else we got? There we go. Yeah, so ISM services PMI, I'm wondering what's going to affect the market more. We got Jerome Powell, Big Papa Jerome Powell later on today too. So just be ready. And then we got regular services. 9:45. All right, chat. Look at the Nasdaq pump up. It's at 448. We're still locked out of our account. We've been locking ourselves out of our account every morning. So. Yeah, so we're gonna be day trading live. What else we got? We got day trading Nasdaq. And then we got our, so we're gonna unlock our funded account pretty soon. Look at this move up. I'm gonna start shorting this move again just because we're up so much. One contract here, big candle. See if we get it. We'll add to it if we end up green, which we so far are. And now we're kind of retracing back. I'm gonna short a little bit more here. I still think we're gonna fall down some. There's 3 contracts. I know they say don't catch a falling knife, but I think we have to cushion a try today. So 4 contracts right now. There we go. Now we took half off. We'll let the rest ride. Maybe add some more back to it if we want. And we'll take that off here. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it. So we just made $200 or so short. Really nice top pick there. Day trading. Nice little pullback. Are you locked out or not? I'm locked out. Well, this is my challenge account. This is a combine account. I'm locked out of my funded account until the next 30 minutes or so. 25 minutes. Even if inflation wrecks the market, what are your thoughts on commercial real estate? These guys see, I think commercial's really in trouble, really in trouble. With commercial, the world's changed, technology's changed. Remote work much more common than it was 20 years ago. And so we'll always have a need for commercial real estate in one way or another for specific sectors, but it's certainly not like it was 30, 40 years ago. And remote work's becoming more and more common, better margins. I think businesses are realizing they don't have to pack warehouses full of people anymore to get businesses out there. They can just do it remotely, and there's an infrastructure for that now. And I think the more that grows, the less people are going to need commercial real estate over time, right? Again, there's always going to be some need to it, but not as much, I think. I'm going to short this little pop. We're gonna start small here, one contract, and then if it rips, we'll get out. Yeah, we're up 800 in this account so far. We'll add to it 2 contracts, but we're not gonna add more than this, and we'll cut it if it starts to push up. Yeah, we gotta get out of there. It's just too risky. So we lost $100 there, so still up 7. I think mortgage holders are in trouble. Insurance and property taxes are up like 50%. Yeah, I mean, so Rob says, I'll use one of your links today, pick up Topstep. So you got to understand, like, it's a great way to learn, right? Most day traders lose, and trading is about learning how to trade under pressure. And so if you try to do that with your own money, say you fund your own account 10, 20, 30K, that's so much risk that you're taking trying to learn day trading on that account. You could say, oh, just use a paper account, but then there's no risk, and you could just add until your heart's content to make money. No, you don't care about losing. And so you need a middle ground of pressure. And I think Topstep fits that role very, very well, where they give you a demo, test your skill with it. If you can make 3K on a 50K demo without losing 2K first, following their rules, they fund you 50K, 90% split, you get to keep your first 10K in profit. And you're risking something. So if you fail, it's not zero. You're still risking something. It's teaching you how to trade under that pressure. But if you lose, it's only $50 basically for the base one, right? And so it's a good middle ground. You got best of both worlds. You got limited risk. If you pass it, very similar to funding your own account, 90% split, you get to keep your first 10K. And again, you can day trade the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, gold, some currencies. A lot of Forex traders should be trading futures as well, right? And it just makes sense, right? It makes sense for traders to try it, learn day trading on it. And then if you're good enough, you can fund your own account with the profits you make from it, right? And if you're not good enough, instead of losing thousands and thousands of dollars like most day traders end up doing, your risk per account is $50. And so it just makes sense, right? But again, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased, for sure biased in their favor, but check out the link right there if you want to see it. Trade options, they're easier than futures. I mean, that's certainly not true. I mean, it's subjective, right? Like, some people think rocket science is easier than regular science, right? But does that make it true? Not necessarily. Options are a lot more difficult to learn, right? Options, there's so much nuance with options, right? You got the Greeks, you got all these different things, time decay, like all this different stuff you got to learn about options. They're certainly not easier, in my opinion, right? But it's subjective. Hey, later, Sam. I'm not sure, Michael. Click the link, see if it lets you. Nothing's easy, especially in trading. Wealthy wave. Yeah, so Nvidia, everything else pushing up though. I'm curious to see what happens here. I don't know what we're gonna get. Again, we got services data expected. I'll put this up on screen. But we got services PMI today. ISM service data expected at 55.5. So yeah, 55.5 for ISM services. And this will be a good gauge of the economy too. All right, we're at 142s, almost 142. 30s for Nvidia. Nvidia should be dragging the market up too. All right. Oh man, I'm tired, dude. For whatever reason, I didn't sleep that well. If you have 25 grand and you know how to trade, yes, Topstep can't really help you. I mean, maybe, but how many people have that? How many people have 25 grand willing to just, you know, again, that's a tiny percentage of people. Most day traders do not, I would say. Dents in your head? I don't think. I think it has to hit my head. I don't think it does. Right. Like, I don't think it sits on my head enough to matter. Like, I don't think this thing sits on my head enough to really make any type of dent in my head. Maybe when you're young, if you let your kids wear them or something. I have 25K I just got last Saturday, and I plan to trade futures on E-Trade with it. Hey, good luck, Thomas. Be careful, dude. I would wait. I would try Topstep personally, but I'm biased, as I always say. But it's a good test of skill before you risk your hard-earned money for it, dude. Yeah, trade micros. Dents on their head. Huh, interesting. Yeah, Nasdaq surging up. Is the Nasdaq generally more volatile than the S&P? Yes, absolutely, it's more volatile, way more volatile. The E-mini is good if you want to limit risk, but the Nasdaq's much more volatile for sure. Yeah, I have some AirPods I could use. I have to go figure out what I did with it. I got wrecked when I started straight with real money. Yeah, it's one of the reasons, like, it's one of the reasons, like, learning how to trade with a middle ground like Topstep makes sense. You know, people hate on it, but like, it does make sense. Absolutely makes sense. You know, you just gotta learn, and it takes time, man. All right, guys, 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Services PMI comes out in about 45 minutes. We'll put a timer up. I think I gotta put another timer up. So we got 41.5 minutes. Wait, 46.5 minutes is what it should have been. Oops. Yeah, still a little bit early. There we go. All right, so here's the actual services. We got another one at 9. Or at 9:45 market time. We got another one, but all right, now y'all got me worried about these freaking headphones, dude. Let me look at my headphones. Make sure I got a dent in my head. Don't have a dent in my head. I don't think I do, luckily. But see, now y'all got me worried, man. I gotta worry. Y'all got me worried about a freaking dent in my hair. Not today, bro. I'm just not gonna wear these headphones. Yeah, join our Discord. It's completely free. Doesn't cost anything. Join our Discord, guys. Completely free. Doesn't cost a penny. Yeah. Everybody's doing it. Just try it one time. Might feel good. Do it now. Chat. Subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Shave my head. I'm good, dude. I don't think I wear these headphones enough. Most of the time I wear, like, I'm gonna put them on today. There we go. I'm gonna put them on today, but I'm gonna take them off. Never again. I just bought some new ones too, dude. I got like, I don't know where my new ones are. They're somewhere. All right, chat. We're up a lot. I do want a short. If we get a bounce, I'll short. Never got a bounce. You get a pop here. Yep. All right, I'll start one, and maybe we'll add to it. Well, we were right about our direction again. Now I can add to it, I guess. Took that off immediately. I'll take the rest off. Just made it $80, a little bit under $100. A little scalp. floating head. People whined about the floating head. They're like, oh, bro, it's weird. Don't do the floating head, man. You know? And so then I take the floating head off, and now it's like the most requested thing ever. Everybody's like, hey, John, do the floating head. I could throw the floating head on real quick if you guys want me to, but I thought you guys hated the floating head here. Ugh. What is the rate cut prediction? I think it's like 74% right now. Did it change after the payroll numbers? Let me see. I forgot to check that. Let me see if it changed. It might have changed. Yeah, so a rate cut actually went up. So a little bit weaker payroll numbers means we're more probable to cut rates, and so now it's at 76% versus the previous 74%, bumped up 2%. So yeah, rate cut probable now, more probable, I should say. Fed meeting's on the 18th. Right now our poll has it 69% think we're going to cut rates, 31% say no. I'm gonna buy this here. Nvidia's bouncing up a little bit. Maybe it'll drag everything else up too. We're up a little bit. The problem when it breaks, it takes the stairs up and the elevator down sometimes when it breaks. So the longer it struggles to go up, the more I don't like it. We're gonna get out there and make like 60 bucks. I'll take it. I wanted to brag about the entry because as soon as I bought that thing, it went right back up. But then I kind of want to buy this again. I'll wait. Man, I literally caught the exact move there, though. Look at that. I got out just in time. The thing turned on me quick. That's why you shouldn't copy me. Modern day Gandhi? You know, I'll take that. I'll take that nickname, you know. All right, chat. Bro, I got way too much stuff going on my phone. Oh yeah, my wife and I had a blowout on our tire yesterday too, dude. Luckily it was a rental, but driving down the road, it sounded like we hit something. I wanted to change the tire, but there was no spare in the rental. Like, why wouldn't they give you a spare? We had to call roadside assistance. Crazy. We had the best luck you could ever have, though. Like, we literally got a blowout on a super slow road, like a neighborhood street, and we were literally at the light. There's this, yeah. Anyways, there was a body shop. There was a mechanic shop, like 30 feet away. So we literally just pulled into the mechanic shop and left it there. Told the car company to come pick it up. Alright guys, 9 minutes. Yeah, no freaking spare, dude. I don't know if the new tires are yeah, I looked it up. It says many newer cars, including rental cars, don't come with a spare because automakers have removed or minimized them to reduce weight or improve fuel efficiency. You know, then don't get mad if your rim gets tore up from driving on it. You know, you're not gonna give me a spare to freaking make it look cool. Don't get mad if I drive on the rim a little bit. You know, definitely don't make me pay for it. Definitely top 3 luckiest ever. Yeah, aka cutting costs, right? They're being cheap. They're going to buy a rim. Alright guys, gold bouncing up a little bit. I'm gonna put a... We got Nvidia up here. I know AMD's moving too. Some cars have run flats. Yeah, I don't know. I assume they're not going to put that on a spare. That's expensive. They're being cheap. They don't even have a spare. Okay, fake Russell Westbrook. Like, I guess Russell Westbrook, like, what goes on in your head? I'm curious. What goes on in your head that's like, you know what? I'm going to create a fake Russell Westbrook YouTube channel. And then I'm going to go around pretending to be Russell Westbrook. Right? Like, what are you doing, man? You know? Let's talk about it. I'm curious. It's not actually Russell Westbrook. You can look at the YouTube channel. It's got no subscribers, you know. Probably had a different name 20 minutes ago. He's probably, you know, you got some scammers overseas that literally just kind of go from room to room. They're just hoping somebody believes them, right? So they're like, hey, it's Russell Westbrook. And they're hoping they get somebody with like a 70 IQ. That's like, dang, Russell Westbrook, what's up, dude? You know, can I have some money, bro? And they're like, yeah, you know, send me your social. I'll mail it to you. And they're just kind of like, okay. It's like the lady who thought she was in a relationship with Johnny Depp online, you know, but she needed to prove his love. She needed to prove her love to him by sending him Walmart gift cards, you know. Seems legit. You guys, seems legit, you know. Love test. Johnny, no. He's out of here giving love tests. You know? Johnny Depp's out here testing love. Make that a reality show right now. He's my favorite He's my favorite player, bro. Relax. I'm relaxed. I'm not angry or anything. I'm just kind of messing with you. As long as you're not out here scamming people, you know, I'm okay. I'm not saying you are. All right, guys. Hey, we got 4 minutes. Am I unlocked on Topstep? I should be back to step 2. Let's trade. Yeah, so we're unlocked now. We're back unlocked on our Topstep account. We're going for our 6th green day in a row here today, guys. 6 green days in a row. Let's see if we can hit it. Whew. Definitely top 3 ever. My favorite member is going through the Johnny Depp catfish. The episode, it's hilarious. She kind of deserved it though. Like I look back on that episode, I'm like, she got what she deserved. You know, I think she left her man because she thought she was in like a committed relationship with Johnny Depp, who just needed Walmart gift cards to, you know, make sure she's really in it for him. You know, like 60-year-old biker lady. Johnny Depp's just into you, I guess, you know. If confirmation bias was a person, it would be her. Anyways, we're moving back down. We're testing the 200 exponential now. Why would you not buy pharmaceutical companies? Pharma stocks are risky. Trial results. Like, it's one thing to have a company that is well known, that has a lot of different patents on pharmacy stocks or pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. Like, that's one thing. It's another thing to have like a really cheap biotech pharmaceutical company that is experimenting and doesn't really have a name in pharmaceuticals yet, and so they're creating all these really speculative drugs that are going through trials, and that's really, really risky, right? Like, that's something that huge risk. Everybody thinks they find the golden goose with that type of stuff, but most of the time they fail, and people just lose whatever they invest in it. And so if you're going to invest in those companies, you just got to make sure you really, really know what you're talking about with that type of stuff. And you can, you know, but you got to make sure you really know. All right, guys, market's about to open right now. And let's see how much time we got. We have 45 seconds. Oh man, that's crazy, pawn. At least it worked though, you know. All right, love you, bye. All right, sorry guys, talking to Carol. Yeah, better a tree than somebody. Yeah, I know I'm muted, guys. All right, I'm gonna wait 5 minutes to let the opening bell pass though, like I normally do. Nvidia's shooting up at the open. It's at 142.50s right now. 142.50s. I'm gonna let 5 minutes pass so that I'm not like taking some crazy amount of risk. We're on a 5-day green streak. It's going to continue. We're going to have 6 green days in a row today. I just can't take some exorbitant amount of risk just to get another green day. So that's all it is. Nvidia coming back down, AMD coming back down. I know Apple has been breaking lifetime highs, and so Apple's starting to flush down too. Look at it. So Apple hit lifetime highs, I think, up there again. But now everything's kind of turning red right now, to be honest. Everything's looking really red. We're 2 minutes into the morning. I think we got ISM Services PMI coming out later, so be ready. Alright, so we got a little pop. Again, Nvidia falling down, Apple falling down some. Are you superstitious? I'm a little stitious, but you know, if you understood the joke, you know, you're a great one. All right, guys, we are 3 minutes into the morning. It's an Office joke, by the way. If you watch The Office, you know it. Bitcoin popping up is at 96,000. That's the Nasdaq. It's the Nasdaq. Yeah, I'll put this up right here. Yeah, it's the NQ. That's what this is. I'll make the services thing a little bit smaller. I'm wondering if services is gonna get a big, like, get some hype for it today. This is usually a short right here, but it all depends on what Nvidia does. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I started wanting to take a position, but I'm gonna wait. A lot of stuff's bouncing back here. All right, we're almost 4 minutes into the open. I still gotta wait. I'm trying to make it so you guys see it. The top right one is Apple. So that's Apple. Yeah, look, I'll put it like here. That's probably the best spot for it right there, so it's not blocking everything. All right, rebounding back up. We're kind of choppy. I'm wondering if we're going to be choppy leading into this report, but look at Nvidia start to rise. Bitcoin's popping up too. Super kind of weird price action here, to be honest, but I will short. Oh my gosh. I just realized, chat, I just traded the regular Nasdaq. I forgot to switch. Oops. Ooh, I would have made money on it too, but I gotta switch to the micro Nasdaq. I don't want to trade that big. My short would have worked. Oh my gosh, dude, that hurts. I would have made hundreds on that short. Absolutely timed it perfectly too. I just took the wrong size. Ah, it hurts, man. It hurts. It's all right. We'll add to this. We'll add to this one here too. We got 2 contracts left. Took a piece off there, locked it in. Up a little bit, but not up nearly what we could be. There's the breakdown. That hurts. Yeah, big Papa Powell speaking today for sure. Apple's heading back up though. Look at Apple. So I'm trying to see where the lifetime highs are for Apple. Lifetime highs for Apple are today's pre-market high. Yep. Alright, so Apple could break highs, lifetime highs. It's the only reason I'm not interested in shorting it, because Apple's kind of approaching its lifetime highs, which are now up there at 243.70s, right under 244s. Very choppy open though, so you gotta be careful. It's not an easy morning to trade, in all honesty. I'm gonna short one contract here. It's almost too predictable, but sometimes the too predictable ones fail. But there we go. Take a longer term trade here. I'm We might add to it too. Oh, it hurts. Should have never added it to it. We got 3 contracts left, but took a piece off of it down there. Took another piece off. Such a flat day though, man. Alright, just made another 30-40 bucks. Caught that red candle too. Nice little cushion on the day so far. Slow but steady here, chat. Slow and steady. Y'all are talking about the moon. I think astrology can be interesting, but I think there's some like horoscopes and stuff like that that is just confirmation bias as well. And I know I use that term too much, but it absolutely is confirmation bias. You'll hear people like, oh, they base their entire personality around what month they were born in. I think that's kind of silly. You know, I think like when you look at it objectively, I think, you know, when you read a lot of these horoscopes, and I'm not saying it's all nonsense because there might be some valid pieces of it. Market's breaking down. So look at the market breaking down. But I think, you know, you read them, they're like, oh, you know, Aquariuses are a caring soul who really cares about their family and friends. That's pretty universally true. Like, everybody wants to believe that's them, right? They're like, oh, I care about my family and friends. It must be true, you know? You know, and it just kind of catches people, right? So I see when I see people that are really into like horoscopes and they base their personality around what month they're born, most of it's confirmation bias, right? Like, oh, quick-witted and smart. It's like everybody wants to believe that's them. And I promise, I've seen the dumbest people have horoscopes that say they're geniuses, and they're just like, yeah, you know, that is me. I care about my friends. I'm quick-witted and smart. And it's like, all right, you know. Like, I'm an Aquarius, so if I look up an Aquarius, intelligence, you know, everybody wants to believe they're quirky, creative, you know, of course, love, you know, everybody wants to believe that stuff, man. It's the same ones where people say that they're talking to, you know, they're talking to people's past loved ones and stuff. Like, you know, it's stuff, it's just confirmation bias. It's like they want to believe it's true, so they do. And the people that are doing it take advantage of that, unfortunately. Alright guys, Apple turning. Very choppy market though. Nvidia's breaking down a little bit, down to 140s. I tend to think we're going to bounce though, so I'm curious about buying a dip. If we get a big enough pullback, I will. My hypothesis on potentially bouncing was right. I was gonna buy that too. I was looking something up, but I was gonna buy that too, and I just missed it. It's all right. We're pretty green on the day already. Yeah, we're pretty green already. I'm gonna buy this small. See if we get that big pop up. There we go. All right, so we just made more. So we retrace back down. I think we're gonna rebound and start coming back up, just because Nvidia corrected a little bit at the open, and then I think we're gonna start to see some increases here. I might be wrong. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional though. I almost bought that pullback too. Okay, we bought this dip. I don't want to add to this though, so I'm just gonna let this chill. Alright, I got out for a little $6 loss. I can handle that. I still think we might go up, but I don't trust it enough to buy it right here. In 2 minutes though, chat, we also have prelim. Or not prelim, we've got the S&P Services PMI. See, look, there's the move up. I should have trusted my gut here too. It's alright. I think we're going to make a broader move up. But it's alright. All right, so we got let's see how much time we got 40 seconds until the regular Services PMI data releases. It's expected at 57. It's a much less impactful release. It's just regular Service PMI by Market Economics. See, there's the move up. I got to trust my own intuition, because my intuition's correct a lot of the time too. Like, look at that. Look at that move. Wow. I got to trust my own intuition. But yeah, so here we go. So the next one's dropping right now, basically. 5 seconds. The big one is at 10. So here we go. So it just showed up right now. 56.1 is what it showed up at. It's 56.1 versus 57. A little bit lower than expected Services PMI. It's a little bit weaker services. And again, this could mean more likelihood of a rate cut. Might mean the market might go higher. But I should have bought, you know, my own intuition here. Remember, I was thinking the market was going to head up right down here. And so far, we've been correct about it. Now, we're running into the 200 exponential, so I don't know what's going to happen here. But Bitcoin's down to 96K. Hey, later, guy. My feelings. How you doing, man? You doing good? Good, man. Huh? Doing good, man. Market's doing good, you know, up a little bit. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Father-in-law's in town, he's messing with me. Alright, so let's see if we can keep going up. Nvidia just cracked lows though. That might change my original thing. But yeah, Services PMI came in at 56 versus 57, so a little bit lower. The big one drops at 10. Purchasing Managers Index is what PMI stands for. Yeah, we got big Papa Powell today too. Alright guys, yeah, market went up to that 200 exponential like I thought we might. Looking at my performance stats, dude. So I got 2-to-1 average win or loss, and so my average win or loss today is 2 times greater than. 2 times greater than 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 2 times gre You know, looking back at the data here, we have been green since so we've been green since the 26th. Yeah. Good profit factor. Yeah, so almost 2 weeks of green now. And we're still heading up like I thought we would too. Alright guys, we got 12 minutes. I don't really focus on either direction specifically. I usually I don't really focus on longs or shorts too much in day trading. I just try to go with what the trend is. It doesn't matter which direction it's heading, to be honest. If I think there's edge in one spot, I'll take it. Yeah, there's the bounce back. We called that. See if we continue. Again, we got a couple minutes before ISM PMI services drop. We got about 11 minutes or so. 11 minutes. Again, ISM service expected at 55. Let's watch Apple. Apple sitting right at the 200 exponential. Still heading up some. I don't know what I want to do with this. I'm gonna short this now. I know it's kind of counter to what I originally said, but we're taking small size. We're already green on the day, and we're just gonna trade with the cushion that we have for now. I want that long green streak. I'll take 2. We'll retrace back down. There we go. I don't like this pop. Let's see if it comes down. See, I do like the fact that Nvidia's up there, but there we go. Let's take half off there just to protect it. Limit my size some here too. I'll let the rest ride. I know these are tiny trades. I'm gonna get out here. It's right around the 200 exponential. I know they're tiny trades, but yeah, I just didn't trust the direction that I took, mostly because I think Nvidia is kind of extended on the downside, and I think Apple's going up some too, and it looks like that was the correct decision there. And trading's all about making the right decision short term and reading the market, and so I think I read that pretty well. I originally got in. I don't think it was the right direction. As soon as we came back to where I was green, I unloaded, and I think that was the right move because immediately after the market popped up. My original move that I wanted was a buy down here. Remember, I kind of missed it. So, and again, you can kind of see Apple, which is kind of leading the market the last few days, mostly specifically on lifetime high breaks. The new lifetime high for Apple's up there at 243s, right under 244s. So we'll see what happens, but tiny trade, but we're still green on the day, and I'll take it. See if I buy back in here. So we're gonna go the other direction now. We'll start taking some risk too. I don't want to let this green streak make it so that I don't take risks. So we got 2 contracts now. Let's see if we pop. There we go. There we go. Alright, so far so good. Called that move right at the 200 exponential. You can kind of see the 200 EMA right there. Honestly, I was just trading too early in pre-market, man. Like, we've been green every freaking day since last Tuesday. Since I immediately started locking myself out every day. I've been green every single day. show you guys my stats here. Look at this. Check out these stats. So I'll try to show you guys this. Look at that. This is my actual funded account. Yes, this is my actual funded account. Let me show you guys. There we go. Alright guys, we got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes. But look, check it out. So look, this is from 11:27 to 12:04, which is today. Right, we are running at 74% accuracy, 83% win day percentage. Wait, what? What have we lost since 11:27? Let me see where it says I have 2 losing days. Yesterday we actually made money. I'll have to go back and see. Because I can show you my graph. Oh, okay. So it's taken into account. I'm still trying to figure out where it got those 2 losing days, because I haven't had any losing days. It must mean, I think what it's taken into account is the 2 days after today, since we haven't traded. So since Wednesday of last week, we've been green every day. Really, it's the 26th. All the way to today. Yeah, 26th. Yeah. Broke it. Oh no. Alright guys, look at that bounce right at the 200 exponential. Yeah, maybe so. I'm just excited, man, because it shows my system genuinely works. Like, I just have to, I just gotta lock myself out every day. I'm trying to see where. Oh, okay, so it's talking about today. Okay, this is what it is, right? So this is talking about today, right? So today I'm running 83% accuracy, right? Total I'm running 74. But today I'm running 83%. I've had 10 winning trades, 2 losing trades today. That's what it is. All right, I'm 100% green every day since then. So that's what it is. But all right, guys, here we go. We got 5 minutes until services data. 5 minutes until ISM services. We're waiting for ISM services data, which comes out at 10 a.m. in 4 minutes. We have technically about 3.5 minutes left until ISM service, about 3. So we're almost there. Almost time for live ISM services. Again, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you want to day trade with me, again, the way I've been making these green trades is because of Topstep X specifically. So I've been locking myself out every day until right before the opening bell, so I don't get bored and trade in pre-market. And apparently if I do that, I'm very green as a trader, very green day trading. So honestly, it's giving me a lot of confidence too, because if I can do that, I'm just super green as a trader. It's a good feeling. Who's buying Apple? Topstep Express 300. Yeah, good luck. CZ. Check. Is ETH moving up? Alright, so there's Nvidia falling back down some here. I think the whole market might be choppy waiting for this report too. ISM services is not nothing. Right? It's not nothing. They might move stuff. We got 2.5 minutes. All right, chat. So we got these stats live here too. Here's my snipping tool. All right, guys, here we go. We got 2 minutes left, 1.5 minutes left. All right, guys, here we go. And numbers are about to drop. 45 seconds, chat. 45 seconds. Again, the expected number for today is 55.5. We'll see if this moves markets too. Yeah, so here's my profit graph since the 27th too. That's my profit graph too since the 27th. So we're gonna keep building the system. All right, here we go, guys. Data's dropping right. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. It's expected at 55.5. We'll see if it moves. And here's the report right now. All right, look at that move from services. All right, services PMI data came in at 52.1, lower than expected, weaker than expected, 52.1. And look at that market move from it. Again, 52.1 is what services showed up as, 52.1. We had prices show up high at 58.2 for services prices, and new order showed up low as well. So most of services came in lower than expected here, chat. Interesting. This means a higher likelihood of a rate cut, though. And so take that how you want it. Potentially a higher likelihood of a rate cut with weaker services. But again, it came in at 53.7. Or no, I'm sorry. It came in at 52.1 versus 55.5 expected. 52.1 versus 55.5 expected. We'll put this nose up on screen. All right, so there's the numbers are up on screen now. We'll put those numbers up big on screen at the top. This is the new services data came 52.1 versus 55.5 expected here, chat. So let's see what that means for markets. But yeah, worse than expected, weaker than expected. The market did not like this either. It is going down a heavy amount here, chat. A heavy amount, dropping wildly here on this report. Yeah, 52.1 versus 55.5 expected. See if we bounce back. The market's kind of choppy in range, and we also have Jerome Powell. Honestly, look at Bitcoin fall too, chat. So if I put up Bitcoin here, Bitcoin dropping like pretty quickly too on this report. So interesting. Some negative reactions here certainly from this. So again, guys, we got Jerome Powell later on today. We are going to stream the entire thing completely live. I'll give you one more shameless plug before we head out. Again, I'm on my 6th green day in a row on Topstep X, my 6th green day in a row. What Topstep does is they give you a demo. They test your skill with a demo account first. And so they give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, reasonable 2-to-3 ratio, they fund you 50K with a 90% split. And it's the best of both worlds. And honestly, if you were going to pay for real-time data in a demo account in futures, it's going to cost somewhere in that ballpark anyway, 50 bucks, roughly 30, 20, 30, 40 bucks, something like that. But the added benefit of potentially funding, you can withdraw if you're profitable enough once you're funded, 90% split once you're funded. You get to keep your first 10K in profit. You could day trade the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, gold, currencies in some ways. A lot of people should be day trading futures on Topstep. There's no PDT rule as well in futures. There's zero commission on Topstep X. If you sign up, use Topstep X. If you use my link and use Topstep X, you'll get zero commission. It's just the greatest way to learn how to day trade. And most day traders lose. And so if you fund your own account, you're risking thousands of dollars most of the time. This way you're losing 50 bucks if you lose. And if you pass it, 90% split. They've paid out over $125 million since 2020. They fund thousands of traders. It's a great way to learn how to day trade. And just a great way to limit your risk when you're learning how to day trade. And again, I'm on an actual funded account on Topstep, 6 green days in a row using their really cool lockout feature. And so their lockout feature is really nice, really, really nice. We'll see if we can continue that green streak later on. But we do have Jerome Powell coming out live today. Again, if you want to check out any of my links here, I'll put this link up in the chat. Great way to help support your channel. Remember, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased because I get paid by them. So I'm biased, you know, definitely biased for sure. Top 3 most biased ever. Top 3 worst plugs of all time. But if you want to check it out, there's the link. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much, guys. Yeah, let me know if you guys think the market's going to bounce back. We'll see. And again, I'll be back later on for Jerome Powell. Big Papa Jerome Powell speaks at 1:40 today. 1:40, we'll stream the whole thing live. You won't have to go anywhere. We'll stream the entire thing completely live on stream like we always do. And we're going to go ahead and lock in and you know, celebrate our big green streak on the day, chat. Big green streak on the day. Again, ISM Services PMI 52.1 versus 55.5 expected. Market originally bounced down. Or reacted negatively to it, maybe because of economic weakness, but I think the market might like it because it means a higher likelihood of a rate cut this month, depending on what payroll numbers show and what Jerome Powell says. So, I mean, they weren't terrible. I mean, yeah, but you got to understand, Nathan. So the market wants a rate cut, and so the ISM numbers weren't super outside of expected. You know, they're at 52.1. I think you probably just want the market to go down, so everything's kind of exaggerated, but it doesn't mean these aren't horrible numbers. Like if it showed up at the 40s, sure, but it still shows a strengthening services sector. Like to put this into perspective, above 50 means a strengthening services sector, below 50 means a contracting services sector. So it still shows a strong contracting services sector. It's just lower than the expected analyst number, just to put that into perspective, guys, for those at home. Anyways, hey, I love you all. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys later on today. Jerome Powell, Big Papa speaks. We'll see you guys then. Good luck.